Hello, people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news for the 15th of March 2025. I hope you all enjoyed that, my most recent tutorial video all about the Apache, trying to get back into the groove of recording the Apache videos. Today we were covering the TEDAC, or the TADS, or the TADS. No, actually, one moment, I had notes for this. The acronyms go deep because, of course, the TEDAC is the TADS Electronic Display and Control, but TADS is Target Acquisition Designation Site. So you could be talking about the Target Acquisition Designation Site Electronic Display and Control. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys that one. So anyway, I hope everyone's doing very, very well indeed, and you enjoyed that video. As always, I have the John Bluer with me. Welcome to the stream, Mr. John Bluer.
I was just typing nerd in the chat.
Yeah, I had to grab my notes to be able to reference that one. It's a bit too much. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome Tea Kettle Barbecue, Pink Floyd, Tog, Sean IM81, Colin Kelly, Paul Cope, Byron Farrow, Tech Gaming 45, JP Gibbons, that John Blower fellow who called me a nerd, and B Denson. Welcome to the stream, everybody. And I'll give you your quick reminder just now to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and also type something, hopefully something nice. Evening, Mangash. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, we've had a somewhat interesting week of news. Me and John were just talking about the happenings before the start of the stream, and we can start as always, of course, with the Eagle Dynamics newsletter, where the big news item here is the Cold War Germany map, which sounds rather exciting.
Yeah,
Looking forward to a bit of this.
This was flirted. Was it with? I can't remember if it was the Chinook video. I think it was. Someone noticed that there was like a fence, and there was a sign in German.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was one of the Chinook videos, and that was the first hint that we saw of this. And I don't think it had ever. I think it was like kind of that open secret, wasn't it? Like we all kind of knew it was coming, but we didn't have that official, it's definitely happening thing. So yeah, we've got it. We've got the folder gap, haven't we? And more than the folder gap, it's actually a lot. It's like most of Germany, isn't it?
980 by 800 kilometers. And if we jump straight into the screenshots, actually no, it's not here. It's here. We have the actual picture.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Oh well. Okay, that's not super easy to read, but yeah, we basically got everything up to the Baltic, and then like most of Germany, a little bit of Czechoslovakia and Poland and Holland and France even. So coming in later phases, I might add. They're saying they're going to do this in multiple phases.
Yeah.
Viking Cat calling you a love crumpet.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's my call sign in DCS.
Love crumpet 1-1 in hot.
Sounds like something Rimmer would say, so I figured that's a good one.
Yes, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean M81, I'm so excited for the Germany Cold War map. Simro 1970, evening guys. Eagle Wings, good evening all. Irish Pat 64, hello my friends. Welcome everybody. It's good to have you all aboard this flight into DCS news. So yeah, we're talking about Cold War Germany. Let's see what Eagle actually had to say. This is Ugra Media, by the way, who, like, I think their stuff's really good. They're the guys, if I recall correctly, who made Syria and the Normandy map. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Tog, mein Gott, will it have the East-West German Bordermarkt? Of course it will. And apologies for the accent.
We've watched enough dodgy 1960s World War II adventure films to
I was
hear
actually
the dodgy Germans.
I was channeling hello hello, or sorry,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
What was it again? The Madonna with the big boobies.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, this superb new terrain will cover West Germany, East Germany, Poland, Czechoslovakia, and the Low Countries, by which they mean Holland. It also highlights the Fulda Gap in numerous major cities such as Berlin, Frankfurt, Hamburg, Magdeburg, Leipzig, and Hanover. Got 100 detailed airfields and heliports, extensive military bases, and the militarized frontier between East and West. And yeah, it's developed by the team that brought us Syria and Normandy. Syria is
Oh,
still my favorite map in DCS, or
yeah,
one of them
yeah,
at least.
yeah. I think the reason why it gets a lot of use as well is, frankly, just a lot of people have got it.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of servers run it. I think also what I really like about Syria is it's got so many biomes. You know,
Hmm.
you've got the whole of Cyprus, obviously, but you've also got everything coastal. You've got like hilly, the valleys are obviously to the sort of east near the coast, and then you've got sort of flat lands, and then as you get further out, sort of almost into Iraq, you've got all that desert area. So, yeah, you've got a real nice mix, and I think that's why it gets used so much as well.
Hmm. Yes. Yeah, it is cool. You know, right into the deserts of Iraq and so on. It's really, really nice.
Mm,
So yeah, I'm a very, very big fan of it. Although I need to
yeah,
fly on the other maps more because
yeah,
so many of them are very good and you can create really
yeah.
cool scenarios.
Hmm.
So yes, yes, yes. Summer campaigns, sorry, summer textures will be available at launch to facilitate potential World War III scenarios. Later updates will extend coverage north, south, and west to include most of the Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark, and beyond, with multiple seasons and historical authenticity.
Awesome. Yeah.
And they also want to remind us the sale is still on until the 20th of March at 1700 GMT. Go get your cheap modules and maps and other bits and bobs. Viking Cat says, "Ja, das ist gut." So yeah, the Germany Cold War announcement here. So yeah, basically all the same information again, talking about it being in three zones or phases. Ugro Media has invested in detail, providing a rich environment for endless complex missions and campaigns, with accurate reproduction of the road and rail network, along with power plants and electrical grids, industrial sites, mines, tunnels, stadiums, rail yards, and stations, as well as cultural landmarks. The initial release of the map will focus on the central portion of East and West Germany, with summer textures that will allow the creation of unlimited what if scenarios in Europe. Well, who knows? Maybe in a few months it won't be what if. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I think the thing I'd say about this is just really funny actually, because when this got announced, I can't remember I think it was Tricker's stream. Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely was. So I was hanging out on Tricker's stream, and I sort of said, "Oh, that looks pretty cool." And he may have gone on a slight 15-minute rant.
uh huh, uh huh.
And I did say to him, I was like, I'm going to bring this up in the DCS news. But he had a very good point actually, and this is not to be negative about it because I think this is great, and actually this is a map that's got a lot of potential. But he did make a point of a little bit of map fatigue. There's a lot of maps out there. They take up, I mean, the size of this. What is it? 980 by 800 kilometers.
It's
Our
enormous.
poor, our poor SSDs, and all that kind of stuff. And I think having a built-in system to the DCS launcher where you can have your maps on different drives would be quite nice. I know there's a way you can do this sort of like with some
You can
fiddling around, but
you can do
yeah,
it manually, but it's not for the faint of heart. More
yeah,
advanced users need apply only.
yeah. And I think them adding, I think one thing they need to do as a quality of life thing is they need to add a system where people can put additional maps on like additional drives and stuff because most people tend to have a couple SSDs.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, and this was a really good point, is that the sandbog, sorry, the sandbog, that's a great term for it. The sandbox gets increasingly bigger and bigger. We get more sandboxes, but
Yeah.
we've not got the toys to play with them in. And so it's all great having all these empty sandboxes, but we need stuff to do in them. And that you got this tricky thing where with every map that they add, potentially you're fragmenting the player base more and more,
So you are.
especially
You
for like
you
multiplayer.
simply are. Yeah.
You simply are. And so the issue is that how you got this kind of chicken and egg issue, right? So we were playing on, there was a great server I was playing on the other day called Panther Den, and it's a bunch of guys who put together this really good server on Cola, because Cola doesn't have enough people flying
Yeah.
on it. It's a really good map.
It's a
There's
really nice
Cola,
map.
Cola's a little bit interesting in that I won't lie, I have been flying around in Cola and I'll look right and be like, that looks beautiful. And then I'll literally look left and be like, that looks like PlayStation 2 graphics. Literally, it's a little bit variable in that way, but I get that it's getting updated and stuff. But I think the issue is that you've got this chicken and egg. You know, a lot of people aren't necessarily buying the map and playing on it because there's not a lot of servers that run it. But there's not a lot of servers that run it because not a lot of people buying and playing on the map. So you're like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And the only way I could see, without creating some crazy financial system where you use subscription models or weird stuff like that, was I think they should have a separate rental system, a bit like we have with modules, where you can do it for, like, is it a week or 2 weeks? I can't remember now. Where you can trial a module. Is it
Yeah, I
a week?
forget how long the trials are, but yes, there is a
Yeah,
trial system.
I would have a trial system for maps of about a month. And that
Mm,
seems wild, right? But I would give people the ability to try a map for about a month. And that then allows people to try these things out before they buy it. Then opens the possibility for new maps to be trialed by server owners for multiplayer.
mhm.
And then that allows them to create stuff that also gives a little bit more incentive for single player campaign builders and stuff like that to use it. So, and then we've obviously got that additional element of the dynamic campaign whenever that becomes a thing. So that will help, I think, a bit with maps, because it will help us be able to create, like, if they can generate dynamic campaigns on the different maps, that helps the single player people at the very least. Because I think they've said with the dynamic campaign, it's initially single player, isn't it? And then eventually
Yes.
multiplayer will come later. Because that's sort of one way you fix this issue. But the second issue is that it's like, how do you get people getting these maps? It's the two issues I think what cause people with problems is people are willing to buy the maps, but they're like, I don't want to spend, like, Tricky had a really good point. He's like, I spend, $60, $80 on a map, and then I never fly on it because there's
Ah,
no servers running it, and there's no single player campaigns running it, and it's like that's a really valid issue. And then
mhm.
there's only so many times that can happen before people just go, you know what, I don't really care. So that's, at least in my mind, one way to fix it is a dedicated longer term trial so people can really get to use it. And then it seems crazy, but if you've been flying on a server, you really like it for a month, and then your trial runs out, you're probably going to go, you know what, there's a server running it. I'll get it. I'll get it on the sale or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the second issue is storage. And I wonder also, is there some sort of streaming technology or something where you can compress these maps in some sort of way, and then the game can kind of like stream them from a compressed. Do you get where I'm coming from?
This is
Yeah.
this is the solution that was created for textures back in the day. Of course, all modern graphics engines have texture streaming because we were
Mm,
getting to the point where our video RAM on our graphics cards could never be big enough to have all the textures that you would need for an entire game, and so we got to the
mm,
point where they could be swapped in and out during the course
mm.
of play. And
Yeah.
yeah, you could do the same thing with the maps. And of course,
Yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 already does this. This is exactly what it does.
Mm,
That's why the installation, like if you look at the install between 2020 and 2024, the installation size is hugely different
yeah.
because 2024 is effectively only ever storing a cache of what you've
Mm.
most recently flown over.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this is the problem. And like, in someone just in chat just now, who is it? David Clarkson literally said, "I'm not getting cola just because the file size is huge,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when your DCS installs already 360 gigabyte, it's just getting a bit of a problem. I mean, I've had to uninstall a couple of modules. I just basically went through and was like, what ones am I not really flying at the moment,
Yeah.
and just sort of uninstalled them. And
I'm in the
and then
same
I
boat. Like I've had to remove modules and maps just to yeah be able to fly. And I'm on a 520 gigabyte SSD for DCS, and I
yeah.
still have to manage my space carefully.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's wild. And and I think there needs to be some sort of system. I think the first place to start would be, like I said, having some sort of built-in system to DCS, which easily allows you to install maps on different drives. Then the second thing would be some sort of streaming system to get people to be able to kind of run it, especially on lower systems. I don't know. That's a bigger one, but that's maybe a longer term thing. I feel like don't get me wrong, it's not a small ask, but I feel like the idea of having your install in different drives is not that crazy or a load of coding. I can't imagine that's like
It's
insane. Like, oh my god, how do you do it?
it's not a feature of the game at all. In fact, it's a feature of
Mm,
Windows.
yeah,
You're just leveraging features that are built into the operating system.
yeah, absolutely, and just making it just easy. It's just an easy way that you just do it through the launcher. It's like I said about the last week about the mod manager. You just
Yeah,
It's not that there isn't stuff out there. You just make it nice and easy and all
Yeah,
in one place.
make it accessible.
Um,
That's all you're doing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So an accessible way to put your maps on different drives, I think, would be a really big help. And then I think another thing is just to open up some of these new maps to servers and new people is do a trial system for maps, which is I would say about a month-ish or so,
Mhm.
and it just allows people to fly on them regularly and try out a bunch of different servers and see if they really like that map. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people then get them. It just opens the door for it because there is this huge chicken and egg issue, and I don't know how you fix it. That's the only thing I could think of. But look, don't get me wrong. I think this Cold War Germany is great. I mean, the two things I'm most excited for, me personally, is this map. I think could be really cool. I always thought Cola could have been a really, I mean, it is a really cool map, but I was surprised that didn't kick off more. If I'm honest with you, I wasn't terribly surprised that South Atlantic was a little bit of a damp squib, just because it's great. It's amazingly well made map, but it didn't have. I think if had you had a Sea Harrier in DCS
Yeah.
and some other stuff, then you've got the toys for the place, haven't you? You can kind of fly around and do stuff in it.
Which is the point you were making earlier about the empty sandboxes. Like if you had
Yeah,
the correct stuff to recreate a Falklands campaign,
yeah,
even a modern day Falklands campaign, because
mm,
well, I guess once we have the Typhoon, you kind of could because
mm,
in a way the Argentinians are still flying the A4,
yeah,
although they have massively upgraded them and they look really good now.
yeah,
And they haven't bought their next generation aircraft yet. They were kind of toying with the idea of JF-17
mm,
and Gripen, and
yeah,
don't think they ended up selecting either. So I don't know what it is.
yeah,
I don't know what modern stuff they're going to have. But yeah,
yeah,
once we have Typhoon, of course, there are Typhoons based
yeah.
on the Falklands.
Yeah, and if we ever got the Heatblur Navy Phantom, well,
Hmm.
if we got especially the J, I mean, we the UK basically bought extra Js to kind of fill out because we had Phantoms on Falklands. If you wanted to kind of, at least not the actual conflict itself, but a fitting aircraft
Yes.
for it,
Yeah.
you could have that as well. But yeah, there just wasn't the toys for the sandbox, I think, for the South Atlantic. But that one didn't surprise me. That was a bit of a damp squib. It's a great map, by the way. It's an incredible map, but it's just damp squib. But Cold War Germany, I think, is really interesting. I think also South Iraq is going to kick off as well
Hmm.
because you're going to get all of the people LARPing Desert Storm, and I could
Yeah.
see some really cool multiplayer servers and campaigns and all that kind of stuff based
Yeah.
around that. So yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, it's cool. I think this is really good, but I think to juxtaposition, this is a great map, and it's not taking anything away from Ugra, and this is not a problem Ugra needs to solve necessarily. This is more of an ED problem. I think this is really really cool. I think now I'd rather start seeing, rather than more and more maps being added, I'd rather start seeing the implementation of these maps and getting them, easier to install, easier for server owners to fly on, easier for players to fly on. I think that's what I want to see next before we start getting more and more maps.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Feel
Mm,
free to chime in chat. We are monitoring.
mhm,
Just take
yeah,
a quick look at what you guys have been saying. Viking Cat,
mhm.
thank God Samsung has 4 terabyte NVMe's now. Um, yeah. Pink Floyd, hey, John called Deep a dipstick.
Oh
He
yeah,
did?
yeah. Where is it? Here.
Oh, I wasn't even looking. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Disgraceful behavior.
There you go. There's
Oh,
the dipstick.
dipstick.
It's
Is
dipstick and John Ball.
John Bohr. Very good. Viking Cat, don't give them ideas. David Clarkson, yeah, saying that he's not getting cola. Channel Right, I really do think more needs to be done with AI aircraft to make it do what you want it to do.
Mhm.
Um, actually, I scrolled right past. Yeah, it'll need to be sorted for DCS to work, I'd have thought.
Yeah.
Simon Campbell Smith, I served at Bruggen at the end of the Cold War, and I'm so excited about Phase 3. I will be getting the map.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Morning, Matt Jones. And Simon Cameron Smith again. I thought it just crossed my mind. I can actually create 3-7 Squadron RAF Regiment to defend the airfield with rapier. I'm off for a cold shower. Well, that's
Awesome.
the thing. We do actually have rapier in game, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else particularly interesting in here? Tricker. Are we talking about more maps for DCS?
It's a man.
Yes, you somewhat spawned the discussion thanks to prior comments with our boy John Blur.
Indeed.
Dipstick. Nice. Byron Farrow, Argentine equal no money. Well, that has been an ongoing issue for them for many decades now, hence
Yeah.
why they still have A4s. And yeah, of course, maintaining the A4s is out of poverty, but I still maintain that Argentina's A4s are the coolest. Like,
Yeah.
I was already on this rant a few weeks back. When somebody takes an older airframe like that and just brings it right up to date and gives it all modern capabilities, yeah, that's my shit. I like that.
Yeah. I'm same as you. I've said my chef's kiss era is when they take like an old jet with steam gauges and they stick the odd MFD in there and the odd HUD in there and all that kind of stuff. It's just mwah, I love that era.
It's like
All
the
about.
modernized Mirage F1 we're going to be getting. I think
Yes.
that's going to be nice. That's going
Yeah,
to be really
yeah,
nice. Until I get my Jaguar, that's going to have to fill that gap.
indeed.
Tog, nerd.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, moving on. The
Mhm.
only other thing we've got here in the newsletter this week is the spring sale. I'm not going to read out all of these discounts, but you do have modules with 50% off,
Quite a
which
lot,
is
yeah.
always nice, including the Apache, which is the one I'm currently doing my tutorial series
Mhm.
on. So that's very, very nice. Well, there you go, Simon Campbell Smith. That is what was done with the Jaguar.
Mhm.
Yes, the delicious GR3. Yep, lots of good stuff here. Go and have a look at the sale. And yeah, there's also a Steam Spring Sale as well, because Steam has their Spring Sale right now. Lord Gaben desires your coin. So so they're running their little
Okay.
thing now. And yes, we've got these nice screenshots of Cold War Germany looking
Mhm.
really actually very, very good already.
Mhm.
Obviously, they're picking out the best looking stuff. But
Yeah.
I think this looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Very tasty indeed. Yeah, and this is obviously a border post.
Mm.
Uh,
And if we ever get combined arms too that Wags hinted at, or full fidelity ground modules, we've all some of you, if you guys have played Gunner Heat PC, but Gunner Heat PC is all kind of folder gap based, at least at the moment, and that's fantastic. I want to see some stuff like that in this era. Be
Gunner Heat
awesome.
PC is super fun.
Oh, it's so
I've
good.
I've been mucking around with that quite a bit. Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Tricker, for the donation. And
Aw.
yeah, B Denson making the point. Special edition for DCS News featuring Deepak, John Blur, and Tricker. You guys need to make it happen. Well,
Wow.
I'm I'm right here. So is John. Tricker, you'd be very, very welcome indeed if you'd like to come join us and shoot the shit with regards to what's going on in the wonderful world of DCS.
Literally, I joked of him on stream the other day that he would just come into the voice chat and be like, "Yeah, yeah, guys, great stream. Anyway, this is why I hate all these new maps that are coming out for 15 minutes." And
It's
just go on a
okay.
rant.
John reproduced your argument verbatim, so you don't need to worry
Absolutely,
about
yeah.
that.
Word for word.
Yes. Pink Floyd, any thoughts about Germany release? Looks like it's well baked already.
It
Um,
does.
don't know, but if they're talking about it and giving us these many pictures, I would imagine definitely this year.
Yeah.
Probably soon-ish. Trademark.
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
This looks very far on. I mean, we were seeing screenshots of this level within what 3 to 4 months of when Cola. I know this is not how you judge it, but when there was this level of detail for
Yeah,
Cola, it was what 2 or 3 months before they released it. So I think you might see it by summer.
yeah.
And this is me just throwing numbers out there, like I threw numbers out there for the Typhoon,
Yes.
which I was like the end of this year. If I get that right, I'm going to be like, yes, I am the Oracle. But if I get it wrong, I'm going to be very quiet.
I I hope you're right.
Yeah, I hope I'm right too. I'm probably not, but I'd like to think I'm going to be right with that one.
This
Yeah.
is a very cool looking installation. I don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got some kind of hilltop military.
Yeah.
They've got like a railway that they can offload stuff from. They've got like antennas and radars. I don't know
It's
what
like
this
something from
is.
Stalker, isn't it? Like Stalker
Yeah,
games or something. Yeah.
get
I've
out
got
of
to
there,
go there and
stalker.
find. Yeah, I've got to get some anomalies or whatever you call it, artifacts from anomalies in there. Yeah.
Definitely, it looks very, very cool.
Mm,
So yeah, I got a bunch of really nice screenshots here, and
mm.
look at the detail at ground level in some of these,
Wild.
like yeah, these urban areas.
Mm.
It's very, very nice.
Can't wait to fly past it at 5,000 knots at 20,000 feet.
Yes, exactly. It Lord Zero.
Yeah, Lord Zero, exactly.
Nice. Alrighty. So yeah, that was the newsletter that we had there.
Mhm,
I wonder, was there any further information? We have this forum post
mhm,
also all about Phase One airfields and bases. I'm not going to read this out, but it's a bunch of places. We've got all these airfields. Actually, it's a lot of airfields.
mm,
Even if you just wanted to do like ferry flights and transport missions, this could be a lot of fun.
mm,
We've got a number of helicopter bases, and then what they list as airfields for small aircraft, which to me suggests that we're talking about general aviation here,
mm.
which is also pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm up for some of that.
yeah.
Viking Cat, they are releasing summer first, snow and crappy weather in the next. Oh, right. That's referencing you saying it'll be out in the summer, but it will
Yeah.
also be out in the summer as the summer,
As
maybe.
the summer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, Tricker, the flower beds are indeed beautiful.
I love how
um,
they put more time into the flower beds, and I've still got guys running around with RPGs sliding on their knees.
yes. And Mangash is upset about the scale of the bicycles, which he says are too
Yeah,
large.
yeah.
Okie dokie. So yeah, bunch of stuff here. Anything else interesting? 12 military tank ranges with helicopter pads on the map.
Mhm,
55 military personnel with helicopter pads on the map. I'm guessing they mean military personnel bases.
mhm,
There are 10 radar stations with helicopter pads on the map. So yeah, like if you wanted to do like a military base tour in a helicopter, you've got no end of places to drop off and have a look. So
mhm.
sounds like a laugh. Het Hell, my hometown airfield, is inside Phase 1. Oh my. That sounds rather splendid, sir. So, what else have we got going on? We had a post from Heatblur yesterday, from Iron Mike, no less, where he's talking a bit about updates that are coming to the fabulous Phantom PHPH.
Mm,
Most of last year was focused on fixing, or bug fixing improvements, and a lot of underlying core and structural changes to our codebase in order to improve it for the future. Phantom updates and to port features to other modules. As when they say other modules, I guess they mean mainly the F14. As well as the launch of some new content in the form of the F4E campaign. This year, we've turned our attention back to the feature development, and it's time to start shipping new features. So, the first thing they're talking about here is they're shipping Jester modding capability and opening up the API to the community. So this is very very interesting. They don't go into a huge amount of detail about what the possibilities are going to be here, but the first thing that I imagine is making Jester reactive to things that might be happening in single player campaigns.
mm,
Like I would imagine that you could make him, yeah, do things, I guess,
mm.
in reaction to story elements that are going on around you, which is kind of fun.
Sim- Probably simple triggers like when maybe you get to a certain point, he'll put the master arm on, or he'll turn on the TGP. As someone in the game, it was one of your in the mission. You have a voice thing going, all pilots turn on your radars. He'll turn the radar on, and stuff
Yeah,
like that. So that's really cool, simplistic. But I can see also some stuff where will he then trigger things in the game? So if you turn things on, would he then talk and get stuff going? That's the other thing I thought about was it doesn't have to just be one way, does it? Like if you turn your TGP on or he does stuff, does he then trigger things using that coding? So yeah, it's really interesting.
could also be fun to to create some interaction with Jester as part of the voiceovers and so on
Mm,
that you might often have in game.
yeah.
Yeah, could be a bit of a
Yeah,
laugh.
and he chats away with stuff and people, in the flight or something. That would be cool.
Yes. Okay, Tea Kettle Barbecue saying that weird looking facility was the Brocken Transmitter on Brocken, the highest mountain in northern Germany.
Ooh,
Hmm,
interesting.
that's rather cool.
Mm,
Another improvement coming soon is the addition of the first pass of character customization. Initially, this will be based on presets, with the next iteration of this feature being able to customize each preset or create a custom one with the exact setup of flight gear that you want. At that time, we'll also be introducing new flight gear, such as new helmet types, flight suits, and more. Eventually, the system will be ported to the F14 as well. And I noticed their first screenshot showing off the fact that we can be females.
Yeah.
He says,
Yeah.
channeling the Ferengi.
Yeah.
So this is very, very cool. I think having a greater variety of pilots and what's the guy in the back in the Phantom called? Actually, weapon. It's not a weapon. Radar operator, maybe.
Is it Wizzo?
Weapons.
No, yeah,
Wizzo.
it'd be a Rio, wouldn't it? A
Rio.
Rizzo or the Rio, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, having more variety is great. I think representation is nice. We all like to feel like we're represented in the games that we play. So I think this will be really, really nice for everybody, basically.
Yeah.
Although you
Yeah.
were making the point that everybody, of course, will pick the pretty lady.
Yeah, they'll pick the pretty lady, and there'll be more female pilots in DCS than they will be in actually IRL DCS. Because let's be
Yeah.
honest, it's a sausage fest.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh. What was Pink Floyd saying? First phase of the release will 25% of map with one season. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is really good. I'm looking forward to that. A bit more customization.
Hmm.
More visual elements and some associated functionality are also on their way, such as the Dogbone gun camera, and eventually the gun camera functionality will also be coming, as well as additional visual customization options, for example, Greek Phantoms. These include the external refueling probe used by Israeli Phantoms, the removal of the football antenna on the tail, or addition of the newer generation one, as well as plenty of other bits and bobs. Where feasible and relevant for an F4E as depicted by our module, these visual options will be functional, and where otherwise not relevant, they will simply be visual additions for a more accurate representation of national phantoms. Our work has also begun on the Jester Pod. So this is basically the same kind of functionality we had with Jester in the F14, where he could control the lantern. He will soon be able to control the, is it Pave Spike? Is
Yeah.
that what it's called? Yes,
Yeah,
Pave
and then
Spike.
the is it Pave Tac is the infrared version we're eventually going to get as well, isn't it?
Yes,
Remember
that'd be
rightly,
very
yeah.
cool. Robbie Hobby, Ugra Media Official have a new video on YouTube all about Spangdalim Airbase.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Cool, no
Apparently,
problem.
Ugra Media are dropping new videos on their map at least every 2 hours. Okay, we'll
Wow.
take a quick peek at that just after I read this one out. We're
Sure.
also putting finishing touches on the F4 paint kit, allowing you to better create new liveries for yourself. So that's kind of nice. Stay tuned for more Phantom updates throughout the year as we add new novel features to the Phantom and start adding new features as part of the DMAS upgrade package. Thank you
Mm.
so much for flying the F4 in DCS, and we hope you'll enjoy the new features coming down the pipe throughout the next few months.
Mm. So one thing I thought I'd mention here, which I thought was interesting, is them adding things like functioning external refueling probes and stuff, because that's the
Yes.
drogue version, isn't it? Rather than the one that, what's it called? What's the other one than the drogue? The one that goes in rather than a basket.
The innie or the outie.
Innie or the outie, yeah. So it has the innie, but now they're adding the outie. So one thing I did think it was interesting about this is the fact that we're gonna get. Well, people were complaining about the F5 and that there was no things like some of the other national variants had things like 4 sidewinder pylons.
Yeah.
There was also external, or what do you call it, national users, which had refueling probes and things like that. I
And
wonder
Mavericks,
if
people were really wanting their Mavericks.
Mavericks as well. And you know what? I was like, this might bully a little bit ED into adding more of that stuff into the F5. Just seeing this, I thought this might make them go, ooh, because ED don't like being outdone, do they? Like as we saw
Yeah.
with the clouds and various other things that they do. Like yeah, I'm convinced the F15 part of that reason that the F15C was added because BMS added it. I was like, that's got to be one of the reasons why.
Yeah,
Um,
I think this is definitely the case because you look at the Strike Eagle and the advanced crew animations that it brought, and it wasn't
yeah,
long after that that ED were like, okay, we need to do this for the Hornet and the Viper and the
mm,
Apache and everything else. They need to have more convincing
yeah.
pilot animations. So yeah, they do get pushed.
They do get pushed, and I wondered if all these little sub variants and like little odd different like mini like variant things like the different RWR panels and the little blisters and refueling probes and all these sorts of things that might bully them into putting some more features into say like the F5.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm a
I
big
mean,
fan of the F5. I think it's a great module.
yeah, and I think that was what a lot of people's complaints were about. They were like, "Well, it's cool, but really, all this just for like some nice graphics? We thought we'd get some more additional features." So,
Yeah.
yeah, I always think this, like we were saying earlier, the rising tide raises all ships. This might be a great example of that happening, and we might start seeing some little sub variants. Because I love stuff like this, where you have like a simple thing was it with Razbam that they added arguments in the model viewers and stuff where like for instance if you pick the Israeli library, it puts the
Puts the
feathers
turkey
on the back
feathers
of
back on.
yeah on the nozzles, the rear nozzles and stuff, and I think just little things like that are really cool. And yeah, I'd like to see some more stuff like that because you're never going to be able to, as you know, these aircraft get upgraded, and not every F4, for instance, even within an air force, is the same. You know, they'll have,
Yeah.
you know, even in a squadron, they'll have various ones with various levels of upgrades and all sorts of stuff. And then as far as you go around different nationalities and stuff, when you say F4, I mean, there's like there's all these different blocks, there's suites, all these sorts of things. You're never going to be able to do just one, are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, it'd be really cool to see these little additions, and I think this is a really cool. That was something I picked up on. I was like, that's really really cool, and I like that Heat Blur are going this direction.
Yeah.
As always, Heat Blur leading the way. You can't shit on Heat Blur.
No,
They are the
certainly
big boys
not.
in this stuff.
Certainly not. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like what they've been doing with the F-14 as well, where you have variations in the cockpit of each individual aircraft. That's really
yeah,
nice to see, and they have said that they want to extend that functionality and also
yeah,
bring it to the F4. So I think that's really
yeah.
really cool.
Was that Forge? Did they call it? Where
They
like there's
did.
different every time you jump in, it's slightly more worn or less worn, or there's your button that's not there or whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that sort of stuff.
it's very cool. Channel Right saying any pilot model, male or female, would be nice for the JF-17. I
Mm,
agree. DECA have been pushed on this a little bit on the forums, so I don't know if they're
yeah.
planning to get it done at some stage.
Mm,
But yeah, I would like to see that. So yeah, speaking of these videos of which you spoke,
mm,
here's one of the Ugra Media ones. This was posted just about 20 minutes ago, and this is them
mm.
taking a flight in an F5, and we're at Spangdahlem Air Base. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to attempt it, so I'll let you fumble that one.
Yeah, just let me make a fool of myself. It's
Yeah,
it's like the Afghanistan map all over again.
yeah. I mean, if they're I'm watching a stream there. If they're flying around, and this is what it looks like now.
Yeah,
Granted, we're flying around one area, but if this is what it looks like now, I don't think the release is that far off.
no, probably not.
Yeah,
This is looking very nice.
it is.
Reminds me of the Caucasus a little bit.
Mm,
Very, very green.
yeah.
Yeah, and
We need more. We definitely need more green maps. Not to be horrible, there's a lot of brown and sandy maps, so it'd be nice to see some
I've had
green
enough of
ones.
all these dusty places.
Bloody dusty places, yeah. I hate sand. It gets everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't know if we're channeling old British men or Darth Vader here. It's
Yeah.
either
Okay.
way.
I mean, this is looking great. Really, really good. I mean, we're watching a video and it's obviously curated to some degree, but yeah,
Yeah,
really, really cool. Look at all that detail, all these little, just little gubbins around the, even the little hangars and stuff. It's really cool.
and the houses. Yeah,
Mm,
it's a very European look, and it's something that we've not seen.
mm,
Yeah, like mainland European architecture, even just houses and so on, has a particular look, and you recognize it straight away. And
yeah,
we've not had a map really that's had that outside of the World War II ones, perhaps. But
yeah.
of course, they're much older
Hmm.
buildings and such like. Let me jump into their list here and see what else we've got. So yeah, this was 1 hour ago. We have Bukel Air Base
Mm,
or Bushel. I don't know which way we're doing it. Once again in an F5, so they're obviously F5 fans here.
yeah.
Taking a very interesting takeoff run there, almost went off the edge of the runway.
Hey, now, I can't say I haven't done similar in
Uh,
the past.
just yeah, like my imaginary flight instructor inside me is like, maintain the center line, maintain the center
Yeah.
line. Slap on the helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we should have added an FPS counter to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to be a great chopper map, says Pink Floyd. Yes, I think so.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Tog says sand, course, gets everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm. And Matt Jones has been trying to get Harrier GR7 reference cards. That's
Mm.
exciting.
That's the Matt Jones GR7, is it not? Who is
Yes.
in the Razbam Discord? Yes,
Yep.
yeah,
It's that fella.
yeah. Well, let's see, Matt, if what happens with this Razbam stuff. I'm probably getting very, which we're going to get onto in a little bit actually. I'm going to get very optimistic here, but hey, man, they were talking about some sort of Frank and GR yonks ago.
They were.
And it sounds like you've made some progress. If anyone doesn't know Matt Jones here, he's basically been bugging the MOD. I'm sure he's probably on some sort of list, but he's been bugging MOD. And I think initially, tell me if I'm wrong, Matt, but they were basically telling you that they could do it, they just didn't want to. It couldn't be asked. Basically, it
Yeah.
would take a lot of time to redact certain things. But it sounds like you've been kind of bugging them a lot more, and to get the data, at least I think the GR7, GR9 is like not happening because I think there was some EW stuff with that. But yeah, GR7 would be very nice.
Mhm.
Just having that information out there would be good. Just so if another developer were to come along, who knows? It'd be good to get that. But yeah, I'd love a GR7. I mean, I'd love a 2 plus. I'm gonna be honest with you. As much as I'd love a GR7, a 2 plus would be absolutely fantastic.
I think when you're coming to Harrier variants, I think if you're interested in air to ground, the 2 plus is basically the ultimate. If you want to
Oh
do
yeah,
anything air to air, then obviously it's the Sea Harrier.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. This is Ramstein Air Base, by the way. Looking
Mm,
very, very cool. They're flying a bit higher over it this time, which is
yeah.
kind of nice. Good to see.
Mm,
So yeah, that's some videos from Ugra Media. Very, very cool stuff. And John, you already foreshadowed the next thing that we're going to talk about a little bit. I wonder if you
mm.
want to take this one, seeing as how you initially discovered it.
Absolutely, yeah. So feel free to stick it up on the screen. There's a little screenshot someone's put. I think it's from the Razbam Discord. But basically, it looks like Ron has posted. Is it? He's Prowler, isn't he? I think on Discord,
Yes.
Razbam Prowler. But he basically posted up that they have been given back dev access to DCS. So a little while ago, he did actually post. I can't remember when this was. There's been so much crap with all this whole thing
Yeah.
that they've taken that away, and I understand it sounds more dramatic than it is, but it's understandable that they would do that when they're not working on it anyway, and there's litigation happening. That they might do that or just let it expire. But the fact that they've now given that back, that means people had to go out of their way to provide that dev access.
Yeah.
That and then I think he finish it off with, I can't remember now, but he finishes it off with something like things sounding positive or something like that.
Actually, sadly, I don't have the clip right now, but
Oh right, yeah,
he
yeah.
does basically finish it up by saying,
Oh,
um,
I've just found it. Here you go. Yeah, here you go. I got it back, both accounts.
mhm,
There's various emoji reacts, including an eggplant. OB and Dev, and then he finishes it off with, "We are very optimistic of a positive resolution."
yes,
So that is a quite the tonal change, especially from Ron, who has not been scared to kind of voice his opinions on things. So yeah, I'll always take this with a pinch of salt. Not that I think anyone's necessarily not telling the truth, just because it's very easy for someone to say something and piss each other off, and we all go back to square one again.
yeah,
But
absolutely,
that's very positive, and he has made it. Before this, he's kind of, I think he commented on something saying like, if we get access again, we're gonna finish off the F-15. You will get the F-15,
yeah.
something to that effect. And then was it Metal Tim Ash or one of them saying that we'd love to, if we do get it back, we're also going to update the Mirage 2000.
That's the only things they've really committed to.
Mm,
Yeah, was that they absolutely want to finish the Strike Eagle,
yeah.
and they do want to give us a completely updated external model for the
Mm,
M2000C.
mm,
We haven't heard anything about Harrier. Harrier always was kind of the very poor cousin when it came
yeah.
to development, because my understanding is that the Harrier was programmed by one person.
Yeah.
And it became a kind of spaghetti code creation of that one person. And
Yeah.
nobody else was really able to or wanted
Mhm.
to dive into it too much.
Yeah.
Whereas the Strike Eagle is apparently in a much, much better state. And,
Mm.
the Mirage 2000, I assume so as well, because it was massively overhauled at one stage.
Mm.
So, yeah, those, I think Strike Eagle and M2000C, we're going to see some stuff happen once
Mm.
Razbam are able to.
Yeah.
Sadly, probably we're not going to see anything with the Harrier, at least not at
Mm.
first.
I think what we if I were to say a realistic resolution, and this is just me spitballing, I think a realistic resolution, if the trajectory continues on the way it looks like it is the Strike Eagle will get finished. I'd like to see all of the things they promised in the CTUs, whether it was the
Yes.
technological steps. That would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Um,
different eras. They were talking about basically having different eras of the jet, which I think would be super cool.
Absolutely. It sounds like they're going to put some. I mean, the M2000 wasn't. It pretty much feature complete to a degree, wasn't it? Really. I mean,
The
it was all.
M2000 is pristine and shiny and chrome, young man. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Exactly, exactly, and I actually was surprised. We said this before, didn't we? That we were surprised that they were like, "Oh, we're going to update the graphics." It's like looks pretty good. Of all the modules, I'd say the Harrier probably is the one that needs, a bit
The
of
Harrier is
loving.
the one that needs the most love. Oh, yeah, and that's
Yeah,
not to say the Harrier is bad, but you can
no,
tell that it's an earlier module than
mm,
the other ones. But you know,
absolutely.
when I did my tutorial series on the M2000C, which was not that long ago, that was only a few months ago,
Mm,
I was struck by how good and how complete and how nice it looks.
mm, yeah.
So yeah, I think the M2000C is in a really good place.
Yeah, I know, and I tell you one person, I don't know if he's still in chat, but Cricker is a big fan of the M2000. That's his, that and the F16 at the moment are his darlings.
Hmm.
So yeah, they're great, great. Apparently, I think if you can get the M2000 up at like high altitudes, like 30, 40,000 feet, and you're screaming along, apparently those Fox 2s, they got some legs on them. Those magics.
Okay.
Apparently, you can reach out and touch people with that with those Fox 2s. So yeah, it's an interesting. Is it Fox Ones? No, Fox Ones. No, not Fox
Yeah,
Twos. Fox
it's
Ones.
going to be
You can
Fox
reach out.
ones that it has.
Yeah, you can reach out with those things. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it would be cool. I mean, I think the realistic thing is that the things like the Harrier and the MiG 19. Everyone forgets about the MiG 19 as well, but the MiG 19, they'll probably the realistic thing will be that they'll just get like if there's a breaking bug, will get fixed. It will just continue working as it is.
Yeah.
Um, but if I was more optimistic, I would say I would love to see the NA finished off because there was still some stuff wasn't there left over. I think you put together a really nice list back in the
I,
day, didn't you, of
I
what was
did.
left over?
It was me and I forget who their community guy was.
Oh, Alpha Juliet.
Alpha Juliet.
Yeah.
I was in touch with Alpha Juliet, and I put forward a
Mm,
bunch of things that I thought were important. And
yeah.
it was mostly pretty small stuff. You know, it was things
Mm,
like time of flight for bombs. It was dive toss modes for JDAMs.
mm-hmm.
Um, oh, I can't even remember now. There's a missing EW page. Like the
Yeah.
EW page we have just now is a subset of the main
Mm,
EW page. It's not the actual EW page that the aircraft
yeah.
has. So there's some random weird bits here and there that are not quite right,
Tell
but
me
it's
if I'm
nothing big.
wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the EW page couldn't there be EW stuff overlaid over the EHSD? Was I right
Correct.
with that?
It,
And
well,
then on
it's a
top of
separate page. So
yeah,
the main EW page looks kind of like the EHSD. It has the map and everything, but it's supposed
yeah.
to have icons and threat rings and stuff like that on it.
Yeah, yeah, which would be nice. Yeah, and then I was about to say like things like threat rings, a bit like the TSD on the Apache. If it's been populated, you'll have those threat rings and stuff like that. And a bit like the Apache, you'll have, at the edge of the screen. From this is how I kind of saw it. Like the Apache, you see the RWR contacts and stuff. And I remember the simplest thing on the RWR page, wasn't it? It was just offset, being able to when you got a bunch of them clumped together, you can hit the
Spread
offset
them out.
button and spread them out a bit and see what you're looking at and stuff like that. So yeah, but yeah, it'd be. I mean, those would be nice. I mean, again, we're getting more and more into more and more optimistic, but just to see some of that stuff sorted, would be great. But yeah,
Hmm.
let's not get ahead of ourselves. But this is definitely white pill news a little bit about the Strike Eagle and Razbam, and it'd just be really nice to just put this stuff behind us. I think the realistic thing is that what we said earlier on, they'll finish the Strike Eagle, they'll update the Mirage, keep everything working, and probably mostly go their separate ways at that point. I think that's probably the most likely outcome. But
Could
yeah,
well be. B
yeah.
Denson, I'm curious about what Ron's idea for the F-15E backseater is going to be. He said he wasn't
Mm.
a fan of Jester AI.
Mm.
So yeah, I got, we don't know, of course, because he hasn't said, but I kind of got the impression that he was more of a fan of the kind of George style system where you have a very small UI overlay and you can give basic commands.
Yeah.
I don't think they were looking to make something quite as complete as Jester.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that was before. How does he feel about it now? Does he just want to get it done and then walk away? If
Yeah.
that's the case, is it a case of using this just AI stuff? This API that they're kind of giving out. He might end up going that route because he's like, you know what? I did think that in the past, but now I want to kind of do this and move on. And it sounds like they're very much in bed with microprose now, Razbam. So yeah, we'll see.
Would be very cool. And
Mm,
that's the thing. I've not touched the Strike Eagle since all of this nonsense began.
mm,
But I am a big Strike Eagle fanboy. So
mhm.
if I start to feel like development might restart on it soon, then I'll probably jump back into it and start skilling up again on doing
Absolutely.
Strike Eagle missions because it is a very good module. But
I mean,
I'm still too scared to start.
yeah, I mean, if you guys look right there, I got to do this because it's like that. There's Jane's F-15E, and then there's Jane's Longbow right there, and then Gotcha
Yeah.
2000. So that should tell you guys that that's probably one of my top. And there's a Tomcat model there. Those are basically my two favorite fixed wing, and then the Apache and the Kiowa are two of my favorite, rotary. So it should tell you guys some stuff where I'm at with things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd love.
Jane's F-15E. I played that a lot when I
Yeah.
was a young gentleman.
Absolutely. Well, I think that was the Longbow 2 engine kind of taken to the nth degree, and I think after then they kind of moved on to is it USAF and stuff like that, and kind of
Mm,
pushed it a bit further. But that was the golden age of Jane's, wasn't it? Really,
yes,
Longbow 2, F-15E, all that kind of stuff. So
it was super
yeah,
cool.
it'd be great to see stuff like that. I mean, the strike. I always said in my head what I was planning to do was I was waiting for the Strike Eagle to get a bit more complete, and then that was going to be my fixed wing that I finally really got involved with, because
Yeah.
I'm much more of a rotary wing person. I mean, the Harrier is, but Harrier is a little bit of a weird sort of in the middle, isn't it? It's kind of a CAS platform. VTOL kind of operates a lot differently to most fixed wing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I wanted like pure fast fixed wing. I was like, right, yeah, Strike Eagle, and then everything happened, and I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. There goes that. Oh
Yeah,
well. Moving
yeah,
on. We also have the results from the Flight Sim Awards 2025. These were just announced yesterday, I believe.
yeah.
And we've got winners here. Airliner for MSFS is the Phoenix Airbus A315, sorry, A319/321 expansion. I
Mm,
personally own this one and I think it's excellent. I also own, I got to call out the RJ Professional. I also own the Just Flight RJ Professional, and that's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Slightly old school flying with some steam gauges and some kind of EFIS stuff. It's kind of good fun. Anyway, moving on, MSFS aircraft. We've got the Black Square Piston and Turbine Duke as the winner there. For airliner for X-Plane, we have the tallest A330 Neo. I've never flown that one, but I have flown the tallest A320 for X-Plane. Very good aircraft. General aircraft for X-Plane, we've got the Just Flight PA-28. Sceneries for Microsoft FS, we've got Flight Beam's San Francisco Captain's Edition. Sceneries for X-Plane, we've got Fly Tampa's Sydney. The best add-on for DCS, no one will be surprised to hear that it's the Heat Blur F4 Phantom.
mm-hmm.
Very well
Yeah,
deserved, I think.
yeah,
And in tools, we've got Beyond ATC, which also is very cool. Hardware, Winwings Airbus FCU, and freeware, Fly-by-Wire's A380X is the winner there. So there you
yeah. That's
go.
awesome.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's the results for the Flight Sim Awards 2025. Simply
It wasn't.
marvelous.
Let's be honest. As soon as I saw Heat Blower on that with the F4, I was like, I think we know where this is gonna
Yeah, nobody
go.
else is getting a look in here.
No, yeah. Let's be honest. They've just got it nailed down, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah, true. So that's actually all the news that we have for this week, I believe. Have I missed anything, John?
We have. We've got a couple little things. So we've
Oh,
got the
okay.
F4 Phantom has been announced literally within the last hour or so for at Microsoft Flight Simulator by
That's
Heatblur.
right. I forgot about that.
and also Granelli have made the F-22 mod basically open source. They've released the source code on GitHub. So basically, that now means that there can be multiple forks and people can take that and kind of build upon it. So that's really cool because it's basically giving out all these bits and pieces to mod makers in the DCS community to go ham and create new bits and pieces. I think that says more about maybe whether someone would take the F-22 further, but maybe take bits of that F-22 that's been done really well and start making some really cool things for DCS. So yeah, there was those two things which I thought were pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Those are super duper cool. Alrighty. It's usually at this point that I pimp the VAF. Unfortunately, I've misplaced my advertising video, so this time it's going to be a kind of verbal only thing. But yeah, you should check out the VAF, the Virtual Air Force. There's a link to our Discord in the show notes below. It's a virtual online squadron that was originally started by myself and Dot Chuckles many, many moons ago. And we currently fly every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, usually at around about 8 p.m. UK time. And we have squadrons for the Harrier, the F-16, and the F-18 at the present time. Go ahead and join the Discord. Everybody is welcome, whether you fly with us or not. And we're always looking for more pilots, air traffic controllers, mission makers, all kinds of stuff. The VAP is super cool. And check out 3 Squadron, who fly the Harrier. That's the best.
That's where the Giga Chads are.
That's where the Giga Chads are. Absolutely. So, also, I'll take a quick opportunity to give a big shout out to Deep Hack's ground crew right now. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, or comment. And if you'd like to further support me in the channel, you have the option of clicking the join button below for a small monthly fee. You can help me in creating my tutorial content and make stuff like the DCS news. So, those of you who've already done so, thank you very, very much indeed. Big shout out to Channel Right, JR Walker, Fishy's Canal, Mr. Yeti, Sean IM81, John Bloor, Tea Kettle Barbecue, Whiskey Dale, Stuart McLean, Mangash, Exorcist, Frantic, Michael. Now let me scroll this a little bit. Willow Wilson, Byron Farrow, Osprey, Snooblaran, Whoopaz, Laskin75, Interesting Story, Pink Floyd, Samantha, and Alex. Alice, thank you very, very much, all of you, for your support. And yeah, on the stream today, we've had, of course, John Bloor. Go to twitch.tv/John Bloor if you want to check out what John's been up to. And I wonder, John, if you want to give us any kind of a channel update on the wonderful, wonderful
Absolutely.
things you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I have been doing recently is I'm working on some new artwork, hand-drawn artwork, illustration stuff for Tricker. Working on an F-16 for him, which is probably going to be part of his merch and also part of his like YouTube banners and various social media bits and pieces. So doing some cool bespoke artwork for him, and I think it's a pair of F-16s firing off arms and all that cool business. So that's been really fun getting back into that. And then pretty much after this stream, I'm going to be jumping into DCS. We're going to do some flying on DCS, so probably some rotary rings. So if you head over to John Bloor, is it twitch.tv/John Bloor afterwards, after the stream? Give me 5-10 minutes just to make a coffee, obviously, and then I'll be up on there, and we'll probably do some helo ops and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I mostly do. It's mostly rotary ring on DCS, things like the Apache, the Kiowa, and a little bit of Logi stuff like the Chinook and Black Hawk and all that kind of good business. So yeah.
Go and do that. Go and visit John's page on twitch.tv and press the correct button on that platform
Yes, it
to
would be
make good
follow
things.
on there. Yeah, it would be follow. Yeah, not subscribe. Although you can subscribe, but I don't encourage people necessarily to do that. Yeah.
Zathras in chat there saying, does VAF do training at all? Yes, we do. We do regular training. So everybody gets trained up to standard. So come join us. Cool.
Great dudes
Alrighty.
in the bath.
Yes. So he's been John Bloor. I've been Deepak. Every Saturday, I tend to make a tutorial video. Currently doing ones all about the Apache. Those go live at 6:30 p.m. UK time, and that's always followed by the DCS news, which just happens to be this thing, what you're watching right now. Thank you all very much for watching. Fly safe, and I'll see you all next time. Ta-ta.